News 13 inside Las Vegas begins now.
Tonight, police are trying to unravel what could be the Valley's latest murder mystery. Human remains found behind Sam Boyd Stadium. Detectives found a skull, a few shattered bones, and a tooth. But as of this hour, they have very few answers. Good evening, everybody. I'm Cathy Ray.
I'm Ken Hamilton. Thanks for joining us tonight. The skeleton was found by a hiker in the desert just 2 miles behind Sam Boyd Stadium. News 13's Christine Connolly was there all day. She joins us now live tonight from the coroner's office where the remains are being stored. Christine?
Ken, from here the case truly becomes scientific. Officers are depending on tiny fragments of bone about as small as this thumbtack to help solve this mystery. In the pitch-black desert, they searched with floodlights and flashlights, looking for clues as small as a strand of hair, a fragment of bone, a piece of tooth.
A small piece of jewelry, any small piece of what may be left of clothing, you know, may become important in helping us to identify the victim.
In the shallow grave, police found a skull and a few tiny bones, possibly from a hand or a foot. Their size and shape may help answer one question.
Depending on what skeletal remains we find, some of the bone structure can also help us identify male or female.
But what could be the most revealing is what detectives found inside the skull, a tooth with a filling.
Any dental remains we find may help us identify the victim by comparing dental charts of the victim we find with dental charts of any possible missing victims we have.
They're hoping for any piece of evidence from which they can extract DNA. But despite all of this work, the identity may never be found, adding to the list of Jayne and John Does whose stories remain unsolved. Late tonight, detectives found a few shreds of cloth and some strands of hair, but what makes this so difficult is that they believe the body has been there for a year at the very least.
Now, Christine, how did the hiker happen upon those remains in the first place?
Well, Ken, officers tell us that she was scavenging in the area when she happened upon a skull. She actually found it yesterday, but was so scared she didn't come to officers until this afternoon.
All right. Christine Connolly reporting live tonight.
The steady rain overnight into the morning caused some flooding around the valley today. The good news, the water went exactly where it was supposed to go, through a network of runoff channels. This one goes right through the Desert Rose Golf Course, but it runs dangerously close to a whole lot of homes. And icy conditions caused some road closures today. Highway 160 southwest of the city was shut down for part of the day. Tonight, NHP says it is back open. That stretch of highway is where 160 climbs toward the Spring Mountains on its way into Nye County. And when the clouds near Red Rock broke up, it was a beautiful sight. Snow on top of the mountains and lots of it. Live Chopper 13 took these pictures with Zoom Cam earlier this afternoon. The snow level got low enough to blanket the entire Red Rock area.
Starting tomorrow, crews resume work on the flood control project along the Charleston Underpass. That means you'll face some detours. Charleston Boulevard near I-15 and University Medical Center will be shut down. During the construction, traffic along Charleston, Rancho, and the Grand Central Parkway will be detoured north to Alta Drive. That detour will be in effect until Tuesday after the Martin Luther King holiday on Monday.
Question on everybody's mind, are we going to be hit with more rain? And if so, when?
And News 13 meteorologist Steve Gary has the answer.
Well, tonight it looks like we're out of the woods in terms of any heavy rainfall. If we get anything at all tonight, just be an isolated little shower here or there. But tomorrow, there's another system on the way, and it's going to bring us some scattered showers, especially to the mountains. Here's why. We'll give you a little radar tour tonight to show you what's happening around the western part of the country. See, the moisture that came through today is now mostly into northwestern Arizona, so snow on the higher elevations there. But back through central California, a lot more precipitation still occurring around an upper-level low-pressure center. So through tonight, you can see how we've cleared out, and we're not expecting much shower activity. If you are going to be traveling down Interstate 15, you will find some showers down there going towards Southern California. What's exactly on the way for tomorrow and the weekend? I'll have the complete forecast, of course, when I come back in a few minutes. Back to you guys.
Okay, Steve, thanks. One person will be spending the night in the hospital after their car rolled over. This accident happened on Lake Mead, east of Hollywood Drive. Police tell us the driver was taken to UMC by helicopter. Tonight, he's listed in fair condition. His pickup apparently went up on the embankment on Lake Mead Road, then flipped over onto its roof as it came back down. Luckily, nobody else was hurt. Police are investigating. We now know the cause of that accident Tuesday on Interstate 15 near the California border that killed 4 people. The driver of that minivan swerved to avoid hitting a slow-moving truck right in front of him. The victims were all from California. Their van rolled over and all 7 passengers were ejected. Fog also may have played a role in that accident.
Passengers were surprised tonight when a motorist suspected of drunk driving slammed into the back of their cat bus. It happened at Charleston and Decatur when the bus was in the process of exchanging drivers. Police say the driver, Rodney Henson, appeared to have been drinking. Henson was taken to UMC for minor injuries and to be tested for alcohol. No passengers were injured. And it was a speeding car that hit this cat bus this morning at CAREY and Martin Luther King Boulevard. Police say the assistant principal from Cheyenne High School was speeding. That's when a cat bus pulled in front of him and his car skidded into the bus. The bus driver suffered minor injuries. Well, the severe weather has added more problems for California's power crisis. New tonight, the state is now in a stage 3 power alert. That means they're facing possibilities of rolling blackouts.
Now, this on top of the rising cost of energy there may hit close to home in our pocketbooks right here in Nevada. News 13's Tina Elliott is live at Raley's to explain. Tina.
Well, more and more retailers in California are passing on the buck to consumers and trying to make up for rising energy costs. And the trickle-down effect stands to impact us all at the grocery store or in one way or another. If California's energy crisis continues, we could be paying more for milk and eggs and even burgers. Besides being our neighbors and having the 7th largest economy in the world, California produces more goods and services than China, Canada, or Brazil. And much of those goods find themselves on store shelves or at burger stands across the state line, with prices some say are already high.
Prices on car insurance, electricity, gas, everything gone up. Clothes, food, eggs, milk, everything.
Soaring power bills are affecting milk producers in California to the degree that they're asking the State Department of Food and Agriculture for a baseline price to measure increases, so they might be able to charge more. Even egg producers in Southern California have seen electric rates rise from 3.5 to 35 cents a kilowatt.
The food, the milk and the bread and that I don't have a problem with, because the farmers need to get their money back, okay? But meat's getting very expensive. And when you eat out, you can really see the reflection of the cost.
Already in California, Jack in the Box has raised the price on some of its combo meals in trying to compensate for rising electricity rates and minimum wage increases. Some economists say that the ripple effect from the California energy crunch is not just national, it's global. Well, Governor Kenny Guinn has the final say on deregulation in the state of Nevada, and he wants to put electricity on the open market by September 1st.
So, and how is that coming at this point? Do we know?
Well, because of the energy problems that are going on in California right now, the governor's Energy Policy Committee has sent him recommendations just today to go slow.
Go slowly with it. Okay, Tina Elliott reporting live.
A warning tonight from Nevada Power officials about a credit card scam. They tell News 13 someone has been calling Nevada Power customers asking for their credit card number so they can pay their bills. Officials say Nevada Power does not call customers to solicit payments, so if you do get a call, do not give out your personal credit information.
Metro Police Detective Vinton Hartung will not face felony sex charges for his alleged involvement with a 16-year-old boy. However, the district attorney says the officer could face misdemeanor harassment or stalking charges instead. Sources tell News 13 Hartung's relationship with the 16-year-old began when he helped coach the boys' Little League team. Hartung has been on paid leave since the investigation started back in November. He has been with Metro for 11 years. An Alaska Airlines jet ran off the runway this morning at MCCARRAN International. The jet was filled with passengers when it blew out 2 tires on landing. Luckily, nobody was hurt. The Alaska jet had flown in from Portland, Oregon. Clark County may be doing better keeping kids in school. However, not many of them are making it through college.
The Census Bureau says Nevada is near the bottom when it comes to the number of residents with a degree. Only about 19% of the people in our state have a bachelor's degree. The only states that did worse than Nevada, South Carolina also with 19% college grads, Mississippi and Arkansas both at about 18%, Indiana at 17%, and West Virginia has the lowest college graduate rate. Only about 15% of people there have college degrees. Today was North Las Vegas Mayor Michael Montanden's turn to give the State of the City address. He cites overwhelming growth as part of his city's success, growing nearly 112% in the last 10 years. But looking ahead into the future, Montanden feels North Las Vegas offers a prime quality of life because of its high-tech community, a thriving business and development sector, plus a responsive and customer service-oriented government, and its high quality of education offered to children, but just as important, the leisure and fun that North Las Vegas offers. The mother of a slain Texas police officer tonight wants justice.
She feels the prison guards are responsible for allowing the 7 convicts to escape. Tonight, new information on their getaway.
And next, in his last few days in office, President Clinton spending time speaking to thousands during his farewell tour. These stories and more ahead when News 13 at 11 continues.
You're watching News 13 inside Las Vegas. Friday on Good Morning Las Vegas.
Lights, camera, action. A local filmmaker makes his debut.
And we have your tickets to the fabulous premiere. Join us Friday on Good Morning Las Vegas.
See you then.
President Clinton's time in office is winding down, but his social calendar is not. Tonight, he's thanking audiences at Northeastern University in Boston for their role in his political success. Earlier in the day, the president picked up a saxophone and joined a school band in Dover, New Hampshire, in a rendition of Louie Louie for his final farewell to that state. And after 8 years in office, Attorney General Janet Reno said farewell to her staff today.
You know, few members of the Clinton cabinet were involved in as much controversy as Reno. A formal celebration was held at the Justice Department this morning. Among the areas of criticism, her handling of the 1993 raid on the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas, and her decision to return Elian Gonzalez to his father in Cuba. Despite the criticism, Reno says she has no regrets.
I have never believed so strongly in this nation's future, in the rightness of its ways, as I do. And I have never believed so strongly that we must continue to fight so that the law issues from all of the people, not just some.
Reno recently purchased a red Ford pickup truck. She says she wants to use it to drive across the country. And today, President-elect George W. Bush named some new nominees to his cabinet. He announced Elaine Chao as his nominee for Labor Secretary. Chao has served as Deputy Transportation Secretary, Director of the Peace Corps, and former head of the United Way. She'll be replacing Linda Chavez, who asked Bush to withdraw her nomination this past Tuesday. Bush also announced Robert Zoellick to be the U.S. Trade Representative. Zoellick held high-level positions in the Treasury Department and State Department in previous Republican administrations. The trade representative is the chief U.S. negotiator in trade talks.
The president-elect's brother, Florida Governor Jeb Bush, testified today before a federal panel. The panel is looking at alleged irregularities in Florida voting. Jeb Bush told the 8-member U.S. Civil Rights Commission that he welcomes the probe and also explained what he's been doing to improve Florida's election system.
Probably 10 days after the election, or maybe even earlier, we began to discuss with people around the state the possibility of a task force that would deal with these issues after the after the process ended and a candidate was named president.
Governor Jeb Bush created that task force, which is now examining a variety of election issues in Florida. Time now for a look at the weather.
That's right. You know, we talk about the rain, and we don't like the flooding, of course, but, you know, we live in the desert, and we need rain.
We do. And on average in January, we get about a ½ inch of rain, and we've seen that over the last 2 storms that we just had.
Okay, so we're there. Let's stop.
We're learning how to count here. I used to live in Florida, by the way.
I did too.
I got out when I learned how to count, so they sent me they sent me out west. Here's what's happening tonight, folks. Your forecast. A little bit of patchy fog. Yeah, some patchy fog. If you're traveling up towards the mountain passes and canyons, be aware of that. Be careful, because there will be a bit of reduced visibility. I noticed that up, especially on the west side of the valley, as the wind is a little bit still and therefore you have some settling of the air, and with the cool air mass that we have over us, temperatures dropping down tonight into the 30s. Don't be surprised if you get up tomorrow morning and you're driving and you see some pockets of fog and low clouds around the area. 30s for overnight lows, that's right, chilly stuff. Tomorrow's highs only in the upper 40s. We will have scattered showers once again over the mountains. Some more snowfall. Snowfall totals could be accumulating, a little bit more of it for you snowboarders and skiers. We saw about a foot of it up there today. Why is it all happening? A big trough in the upper levels of the atmosphere. The jet stream has been diving down over the western half of the country. A large low pressure center, a vigorous one right there. You can see it very well indicated just off the coast of California, bringing with it the clouds, the cooler weather, and of course the storminess that we saw today. 52, the official high today, well below the normal of 56. 42, the overnight low. Elsewhere around the country, have they seen some nasty weather? No, it hasn't been too bad, in fact. Through Chicago, 30s, 40s out to the northeast into New York City and Dallas, 44. A little bit mild, but wet in the west, definitely in the southwest. Showers now working their way once again into California around the low pressure center. As the storm comes onshore, we'll continue to see some clouds tomorrow. Another batch of storminess also working its way right here on this level of the jet stream as it goes into the Midwest. But for us, the big story in the upper levels, that large trough, which will stay in place through Saturday. What does that mean for you? It means cool weather will continue. There's the low right there, spotted mottled clouds. That indicates that very cold air is associated with this upper level low pressure center. You can see the front right here that passed through today, so we have some clearing conditions, but tomorrow you'll see a mixture of some clouds with a few scattered showers popping up. Here's what happened today officially in terms of the rain amounts. 17/100ths at MCCARRAN, about 1/4 inch in North Las Vegas. As you get up in the higher elevations, just outside of Boulder City, nearly 1/2 inch, and then up on top of the mountains, 14 inches of new snow over by Mount Charleston. Right now, no precipitation being reported. Patchy fog, though, so if you are traveling up Highway 160 or going up 95 towards the mountains, be aware of that. There will be some patchy fog out there tonight. 20s to the north, 40s to the south in Phoenix. Tonight's lows inside Las Vegas, low of 34 degrees. Not much isolated shower activity. You'll be hard-pressed to find that, if any at all, will be up over the mountains. Tomorrow, 38 in Salt Lake, 37 in Reno, 57 in L.A., 55 in Phoenix, and we'll be up to 49. Watch out, once again, for the snow levels. They will be dropping, so for folks who travel through the passes, as it gets down, the snow gets down below 4,000 feet, of course, it can make for some slick roadways. Showers clear out by Saturday and Sunday. A very nice-looking weekend, just cold nighttime temperatures.
That looks nice.
Near freezing, then a touch breezy to windy coming up Sunday into Monday.
And up in the mountains, what, snow tires and chains, too, if you're going up there.
Yeah, but a lot of folks will be going snowboarding, skiing.
It's great conditions up there right now.
Good for that.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Sure.
21-year-old employee of the Los Alamos lab has been arrested for computer hacking.
He's accused of breaking into not just one, but several company websites. He says he didn't do it. First, a detailed report on the breakdown in security at the Texas prison where 7 convicts escaped. We'll be right back.
Meteorologist Steve Gary holds the seal of approval of the American Meteorological Society.
The $106 billion merger between America Online and Time Warner is one step closer to being a done deal. Today, the Federal Communications Commission gave the go-ahead for the 2 mega companies to become one. And the FCC says it has imposed conditions to make sure consumers are protected. The new business will be called AOL Time Warner, and it'll no doubt be the largest media empire in the entire country. Several Texas state prison guards may be losing their jobs for mistakes that allowed 7 inmates to escape.
Today, the Department of Criminal Justice released a report on that escape. It includes several missed opportunities to catch the men. One, a prison guard walked into the maintenance shop the inmates had taken over and didn't notice anything wrong. Also, an alarm was pulled by a guard but never investigated. The men are accused of killing a Texas police officer, and tonight his mother is criticizing prison officials.
I expected the Texas Board of Criminal Justice to point fingers at low-level employees at the prison. They certainly are accountable, but so are you.
The fugitives include convicted murderers, kidnappers, rapists, and a child molester. All 7 are still on the loose tonight, nearly 1 month after the escape. She killed a childhood friend and later murdered her lesbian lover. Today, she was executed in Oklahoma. Wanda Jean Allen became the first black woman executed in the United States since 1954. The 41-year-old woman gained national attention from death penalty opponents who have argued that her low IQ put her in the range of mental retardation. Today, Governor Frank Keating denied a late request for a 30-day stay.
A former Los Alamos National Laboratory employee faces federal charges for hacking into 6 company websites. But 21-year-old Jerome Heckenkamp says he didn't do it. He says he's just a scapegoat for the real hacker. Heckenkamp claims someone else broke into the websites using his computer. He was arrested yesterday in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Well, what would it take for Rick Pitino to be the next head coach of the Rebel basketball team?
The former Celtics coach answers that question himself next on News 13.
Now, News 13's Inside Sports with Ron Futrell.
All right, Rick Pitino is coming to Las Vegas. Well, at this point, it's just to talk about the basketball job. Not to take it, at least not yet. He's clearly interested, but the politics of this deal is taking center stage tonight. There are prominent boosters here in town who have told me it's a done deal that Pitino is coming here to coach. What University President Carol Harder and Athletic Director Charlie Cavanero want to do is at least give the impression that they're the ones making the call on the Pitino potential hiring here. Either way, today Pitino was interviewed on the Jim Rome Show on Sports Radio 1460. He made it clear that he is indeed interested in becoming the UNLV basketball coach.
I'm going to go out there sometime next week. We have spoken in great length, and I told them what they have talked about is not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is strategy, basketball, contracts, and things like that, where you live and what you do. That's very easily workable. What I want to find more importantly is how strong is their basketball program, how committed to excellence is the athletic department, how committed are they to academics, how committed are they to building a tradition and continuing some of their early years of prosperity. And if those answers are very positive, then I'm going to be extremely interested in that job.
Okay, Mayor Oscar Goodman held his news conference today at City Hall. He talked about the possible Pitino hiring and the reports of perhaps $1 million a year salary.
If in fact we're going to pay $1 million a year, I don't know anybody who's worth $1 million a year. Would I like to see him coach? I'd like to see him coach better than he did in Boston.
He wasn't laughing after that, was he? I mean, he took that pretty seriously. Okay, the Rebels play at Utah Saturday, 12:30. It's an ABC regional TV game, so you can watch it here live on News 13. It's a big game for the Rebels and Coach Max Good. Now, remember the football win. That was on Air Force on ABC earlier this year. Had a great effect on the program. It can do the same for the basketball team if they could win at Utah on Saturday. By the way, I want to mention Lady Rebels lose tonight to Utah by the final score 70-51. Evander Holyfield is in town tonight for a news conference coming up tomorrow. He'll be fighting John Ruiz March 3rd at Mandalay Bay. That's Winston Cup weekend, so good luck with hotel rooms. But their first fight, I got to tell you, it was certainly not a great fight. Today in Boston, though, Holyfield says that he plans to make this his final year in the ring.
This is my year. 2001 was a great year. 2001 probably the year that I retired, but this would be a year that I probably do great things in this game of boxing.
There you go. He wants 3 more fights is what he's saying. The Ruiz fight coming up March 3rd, then a middle fight that he didn't say who that was going to be against, and then the final fight of his career against Lennox Lewis. I asked why fight. First of all, the Ruiz, it wasn't a great fight the first time they fought, but they're going to fight again anyway. And the Lewis fight, he's already lost twice, even though one was, remember, it was a draw, but he lost twice to Lennox Lewis. So anyway, I don't know what Evander Holyfield has left. We'll find out more at a news conference tomorrow here, and then when he fights on March 3rd.
That's interesting. Okay, Ron, thank you.
And we still have a look ahead at your morning weather conditions.
We'll be right back.
YourInsideLasVegas.com. Get updates on construction, road closings, and accidents. Just choose a specific location, and our webcams give you a live look at traffic, only on News 13.
Steve Gary joins us once again with a final look at what we can all expect in the morning.
I tell you, this is the kind of weather I love to get up and go running.
There you go.
Nice chill in the air.
When it's still dark out.
I did it this morning, and I just enjoyed it because it's so clear and crisp, you know, cool. a little bit drizzly. There will be some patchy fog tomorrow morning, so be aware of that. If you're going to be driving, of course, to work in the early morning hours, especially through the mountain passes and canyons, we will have some low clouds and fog. Temperatures near 34 degrees to start you off with, and a high tomorrow only in the upper 40s, so definitely chilly. A little bit of scattered shower activity, but I don't think it's going to be a washout.
All
By any means.
Be
Thanks,
careful
Steve.
if you're out there.
Okay.
That does it for now. Thank you so much for being with us.
See you back here tomorrow night on News 13. Good night.